Hi and welcome to cheekyricho Cooking's salted caramel apple cake. We're going to be cooking this in the camp oven because as you can see we're out camping, so we're just going to spray our little 7-inch or 18cm cake tin, peel a couple of Granny Smith apples which are green and quite tart, hold their shapes quite nicely while you're cooking. Just peel a couple of those, core them and then slice them and arrange them in the bottom of that cake tin. I have an apple corer here out in the bush, so we're just going to make do with a sharp knife. Okay, now normally I just use a mandolin at home, but we're just going to slice these quite thinly because they need to cook, and arrange them in the bottom of our cake plate any old how. You make a star pattern if you like, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to do that. I've got failing light happening here, so okay, just get our apples and just arrange them around the bottom of our cake tin. We're going to sprinkle them with brown sugar, cinnamon, Himalayan Pink Salt. Make sure you grease this well, incidentally. Round we go. Because this is going to be turned upside down, the surface that is closest to the bottom of the cake tin is what's going to be actually seen. So I've just sort of filled in the holes with the rest of it. Okay, put that to one side. About 60 grams of brown sugar, 30 grams of butter, good pinch of ground cinnamon, our Himalayan pink salt. As much or as little as you like of that. We're putting in probably 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, that's what you should have. Now we're just going to mix this all around until it goes sort of crumbly. Now this is what you should have. It's not creamed at all, but almost like a paste. Now, there's going to be quite a fair bit of juice come out of these apples, and this will make a syrup itself. You don't want to make it really, really gooey and wet. So we're going to throw in a teaspoon or so of just self-raising flour, about a teaspoon, that'll do us. Mix this all around, and we're going to sprinkle this on top of our apples. What that flour is going to do is absorb some of the moisture and actually thicken in the cooking process. Now you can't spread this evenly, and once it melts it's going to just all go in there anyway, but try and send little blobs around our apples. Don't try and spread it, it's never going to happen, okay? Once it melts it's just going to all fall through those apples and everything's going to be fine. And it's going to get a really salty, caramel, buttery, apple flavoured cinnamon. Oh, it's going to be divine. Anyway, keep going until you've got that all pretty well spread out, because then we're going to throw our cake batter on top of that. Now it's only a small cake, between 2 and 3 people this should serve, 4 at a pinch, depends on what you've been having for dinner, how hungry you are. Don't worry about washing that bowl, we're going to use that now. Just little pinches around the edge. When you're happy with that, I'm happy with that. Just leave that to one side. Now we get some more butter for our cake. Another 40 grams of butter. We're going to be using some raw sugar this time, but not too much. As you can see, it's quite a sweet cake. So we're looking at probably 30 grams there. 30 grams. Natural vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon-ish. Bit more of our cinnamon. And we're just going to cream this until it's nice and light in colour, except for the cinnamon. Okay, this is what you should have. It's nicely creamed now. We're going to send in our egg. Mix that all around. Then we're going to add 1 cup of self-raising flour and enough milk to make a nice cake batter. So you're probably looking about 1/2 cup of milk. This is what you should have. Scrape down the sides. Now, you don't want to beat this too vigorously because you don't want to toughen your cake. You could be doing this alternatively with your milk, but I'm going to measure this so it helps you, and I'm not just doing it by eye, which is what I normally would do. Okay, so just mix it all around. Add in our milk. There's 1/2 cup in there. You may need a little more yet, we'll just see. We want a nice cakey sort of buttery batter. Scrape down the sides, make sure you haven't got any lumps in there, and we're going to smooth this batter on top of our apples. Okay, this thickened a little bit on standing, so I had to add another 30 mils of milk to that. So now we're just going to smooth this batter over the top of our apples. So just pour that all in. I hope this cake tin's going to be big enough. The apples will actually break down as they start to cook, and this cake might actually go over the sides, but we'll worry about that if it happens. Smooth him all around. Now you don't have to do anything to the top of this cake, because when it's cooked we're going to be tipping it upside down, and all those apples and lovely juice is going to come to the surface. So just make a little dent there, because you don't want it to have a risen top, because when you turn it upside down it'll want to break. So just have a little bit of a dent. Can you see where I've sort of scooped the centre out a little bit? Give it a little tap down, make sure there's no air bubbles, and into the camp oven we go. Okay, Richard's got some gorgeous coals for me. Pop this straight into the camp oven on a trivet. Here's our lid. Okay, he's just going to put a shovel of some coals in there. The moon's just rising. coming through the clouds and over the top of the mountain on the other side of the dam. Because of the high sugar content, we didn't want to have too hot a fire, so Richo actually had to put a bit of a log on top of it because the coals weren't quite hot enough. We checked it after 15 minutes and it wasn't quite ready, so it's been on for another 10 minutes or so. Doesn't that look delicious? The caramel's just peeping up through the top of the cake. Don't worry about that. When it goes upside down and you'll be slicing it, all the sauce and the beautiful soft apples will be sitting as the crown on top of your cake. Bring it over here now. Okay, lightly springs back when you touch it in the centre, but it smells good, and it's left the sides as well, and it didn't boil over, which I'm very pleased about. Okay, now I want you to let this cake cool for about 10 minutes, let all the apples set and the juice settle down a little bit, and we're just going to get a knife and loosen the side. You shouldn't have any problems because, as I say, it's really quite buttery in there, and we greased it quite well. Now we just want to loosen the sides, give it a little, still really quite hot, little shake, because we want that to release. Now normally at home I would put some baking paper underneath that, but I'm a bit worried about the heat and the baking paper in the camp oven, so we just invert the plate and then turn it upside down, and with really lucky ducks the whole deal will come out. You ready? Ah, look at that. Oh wow, how good does that smell? A little bit of apple stayed behind, doesn't matter, just scoop that out and spackle it where you think it needs it. There we go. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, now we're just going to slice this, serve this on its own, serve it with some cream or ice cream or custard. Ah, yummo. Look at that.
Oh, that's nice. Beautiful.
It's moist, sweet, warm and sticky. It's like a cinnamon donut. And you can taste the salt in the apples. Yummy. Thanks for watching.